Wednesday's first video for you with the first news story is about appointment of special envoy, UK envoy for the Horn of Africa. Now, Horn of Africa is full of special envoys, China, US and some other countries have appointed special envoys in the Horn of Africa and Red Sea. Second news story is from Oromo. We know that top OLF leaders, Oromo Liberation Front, have been in prison for months. Some have been released as well. Today, 7 top OLF leaders will appear at a court. Are they going to be released? Thirdly, viewers, Baldiras party of Eskinder Nega a few hours ago issued a statement about Valaga massacre in which hundreds of innocent civilians, mostly ethnic Amharas, Muslims, were killed. What is Baldiras saying? Baldiras' statement is a message for the people of Oromo, people of Amhara region, people of Addis Ababa and all Ethiopians. What is Baldiras saying? And lastly, there was a very important news story. More than a week ago, I reported that a direct flight of a US Air Force plane flew from US military base in Djibouti. And it landed in Tigray's capital, Mekelle. It was a direct flight, and it was confirmed by some experts who monitor flight data, flight paths, aviation-related developments. Now, we have been working on this news story since then. Back then, I said that I would try to brief you if I got reliable information that who was on board. Now we have received unverified information about who was on board this flight. A top Tigray politician was on board. Who is he? Where did he go? What happened there? We'll try to analyze this exclusive information that we have received through a source. First news story is about special envoys in the Horn of Africa. Global powers, Western countries are appointing special envoys. For months, we are seeing that new special envoys are being appointed in the Horn of Africa. That shows the strategic significance of the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea, Middle Eastern countries, EU, US, all, Russia, China, all want to have their presence, their influence in the Horn of Africa, in the Red Sea countries. Britain has replaced its special envoy in the Horn of Africa. Philip Parham was working as UK's special envoy for the Horn of Africa, and he has been replaced. Sarah Montgomery has been appointed as new British special envoy for the Horn of Africa. How many special envoys are now working in the Horn of Africa? Firstly, US has a special envoy here, Mike Hammer, Jeffrey Feltman, then David Satterfield, and then a few days ago, Mike Hammer was appointed as US special envoy in the Horn of Africa. In February, China also followed suit. China appointed Shui Bing. UK has Sarah Montgomery. European Union has also appointed a special envoy for the Horn of Africa, Annette Weber. She is working as Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa and the Red Sea. And France also appointed last year a Special Envoy for this region. France, UK, US, China, and EU all have special envoys in the Horn of Africa. Some of these countries which have special envoys have their investments in the region, like China. Some want to be in the countries situated close to Red Sea shipping route, one of the busiest shipping routes in the world, and some want to counter Chinese and Russian influence and vice versa. So Horn of Africa is a battleground for global powers, it seems. The Horn of Africa countries should realize how important they are, that global powers are fighting over influence in this zone. These countries should know how to make the most of their strategic significance. Second news story is about a political party based in the Oromia region of Ethiopia. Name of the party is Oromo Liberation Front, OLF, which was basically an armed group. Then it turned into a political party. Now it is a registered political party, though it is seen as political wing of Oromo Liberation Army. OLF is led by Daud Ibsa. Daud Ibsa has been under house arrest for months, and OLF leadership, OFC leadership were arrested after Hachalo's murder. OLF leaders were arrested before that as well. And since then, for the past 1 year, more than 1 year, OLF leaders have been in prison. Some have been released too, like Colonel Gamachayana was released a few days ago. Bati Urgasa was released. Today, top 7 OLF leaders will appear at a court. They will appear at a court in Burayo, and unconfirmed reports are being shared that the court could order their release. The 7 OLF leaders are Abdi Ragasa, main OLF leader, Michael Boran, Gada Oljira, Lami Bagna, Gada Gabisa, and others. These 7 top OLF leaders in coming hours will appear at Barayo court in Oromia region. Will they be released? We have been hearing rumors for the past few days that more OLF leaders could be released. And Jawar party OFC has been calling for the release of OLF leadership. We heard Jawar and Bakle Garba as well, both spoke for the release of OLF leaders. They could be released. We'll update you in coming hours about the release or otherwise of top OLF leaders. Thirdly, viewers, Baldiras party of Eskinder Nega has released a statement about Valaga incident. Hundreds have been killed in Valaga. Hundreds of innocent civilians, mostly ethnic Amharas, Muslims, were killed in an unprovoked attack. Both government and OLA are accusing each other. OLA is accusing a government-backed militia, Oromia government militia, Gachana Sarna, and government is accusing OLA that it is behind this massacre. More than 300 casualties confirmed so far. What is Baldiras saying? Baldiras party led by Eskinder Nega is accusing federal government, Oromia regional government, Oromia parties and Shane OLA that they are behind this massacre. And Balderas says 325 people have been killed in this horrific incident. Balderas is asking the people of Oromia to condemn these killings. Balderas is urging Oromo opposition parties, Oromo scholars to speak against this horrific incident and it is requesting Ethiopians and Addis Ababa residents especially that they should protest against the government and people of Amhara region are being urged by Balderas to stay united for a struggle to defend their rights. Now, who will protest? Eskinder Nega was very vocal against the government when he was in Ethiopia. He had to flee Ethiopia, we can say. He was arrested, I think, twice after his release in January this year. He tried to launch a movement, tried to start momentum in terms of political activities against the government, but he was not allowed to work freely. So he had to leave Ethiopia. Now he is in the US, he is rallying there, and he is not, he might not return to Ethiopia soon, though we heard a few days ago that he was, when Ethiopian federal government launched operation against Fano in Amhara, we saw announcement from Getachew, Balderas party leader, that Eskinder would return to Ethiopia in a week. This announcement was made around 2 to 3 weeks ago, and still Eskinder has not returned to Ethiopia. And Getachew is in prison. He was arrested from Bahidar a few days ago, I think 3 weeks ago. So you see that Balderas leadership is either in prison or in the US. But it wants the people of Addis Ababa to protest. It wants people of Ethiopia to protest. You cannot protest in Ethiopia against the government. You cannot speak freely against the government. If you do, you cannot be in Ethiopia. You will be either in prison or you will have to flee Ethiopia. That is what Eskinder did. Eskinder has not returned to Ethiopia so far. No announcement of his return. Lastly, viewers, a very important news story. Almost a week ago, I reported about a direct flight between US military base in Djibouti and Tigray's capital, Mekelle. Who was on board? Was there any meeting between Ethiopian PM Abiy and some Tigray top leader in Djibouti, because PM Abiy also traveled to Djibouti a few days ago? What did I report? I reported, which was basically shared by an expert who monitors flight paths, flight data, aviation-related developments. He reported that on the 13th of June this month, a US Air Force plane flew from Djibouti's US military base, and this plane flew over Dakhel on Djibouti, a far border, then Samra. It entered Tigray, it landed in Mekelle. Direct flight between US base in Djibouti and Mekelle. Then the flight returned to Djibouti base as well. No statement from US military base in Djibouti, Ethiopian government, Tigray government. What happened? But through two experts, I confirmed that the news about this flight was not false. Next question was who was on board? Now, what we have received a report, unverified report though, is that a top Tigray leader was on board. Getachew Reda, Tigray presidential spokesperson Getachew Reda was on board this US special flight, direct flight. US special plane took Getachew Reda from Mekelle to Djibouti. Next question, was there any meeting between Ethiopian PM Abiy and Getachew Reda in Djibouti? PM Abiy visited Djibouti on the 10th of June. On the 9th of June, he was in Somalia to attend inauguration ceremony of Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud. The next day, I think it was Friday, he arrived in Djibouti. But this flight was reported on Monday. The flight flew on Monday. It means that Getachew arrived in Djibouti after PM Abiy had left. PM Abiy's stay in Djibouti was one-day stay. So he arrived there, I think, on Friday, and he left on Friday or Saturday. He was not in Djibouti on Monday. But it seems that in Djibouti, PM Abiy held some meetings with mediators, especially US officials. After the meetings, PM Abiy returned to Ethiopia, and US special plane was sent to Tigray to bring Getachew Reda to Djibouti. Again, some meetings were held. And after that, Tigray announced that it will be part of mediation efforts if talks are held in Kenya, not in Tanzania. If you remember, before that we were hearing, in recent days we have been hearing that there could be talks between Ethiopian government and Tigray with African Union mediation in Tanzania. But reportedly, after this flight, after Getachew's meetings in Djibouti, Tigray announced that it will only be part of talks if talks are held in Kenya under the auspices of Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenyan president, US, UN, African Union, and the United Arab Emirates. That is what we have learned so far, that Getachew Reda was specially brought to Djibouti from Tigray for some special meetings in Djibouti. That shows that US is a key player in these talks. Though we see Obasanjo mostly visiting Mekelle, Amhara, Afar, Addis Ababa. But who is pulling the strings? I think US is behind this mediation initiative. And US is behind Kenya as well. Uhuru Kenyatta is backed by the US. That is why Tigray rejected, indirectly, Tigray rejected talks in Tanzania. Because had talks been held in Tanzania, Kenyan role would have been diminished. That is why Tigray wants to hold talks in Kenya, because these talks are backed by the US as well. Thank you for watching.